Previously on Genesis 7, Delco revealed his deep personal fascination with Stalin. Captain Edward Snowden had intimate relations with his chair. Priscilla, queen of the right side of the bridge, wondered exactly how pointless she is. And back on Earth, Velma wondered when the love of her life, Daphne, would return. Confused? You shouldn't be, because that makes more sense of what really happened. By Jove, this episode's about Jupiter, my favourite planet! So I'm already taking whatever happens personally.
Hey Priscilla, have you seen Danton? He never showed up in the galley for lunch.
There's 3 of you on the ship, it's not a big ship, and you've a sentient computer with amazing scanning abilities. It can't be that hard to find him. I realise this is one of the few chances she has for a line, but you're just making yourself look stupid. Want to know something great? Wonder Boy's working on a top secret project that the captain's not allowed to know about, while they're worried about traitors in their midst.
By the way, what are you working on?
I'm writing a report for Danton's secret project.
You're in on this? Let me see.
I'm sorry, I can't let you see.
You can have a look at it now. The fruit of my labors for 3 weeks.
Fuck, that subplot was epic. Oh, look at that secret project. He invented Blue Peter. Whatever this is, it'll help their scans of Jupiter.
A long pipe?
That's being way too nice. So we invented this special probe for use in the high winds of the red spot. Even though a few episodes ago they had a special probe that was capable of flying all the way through the sun and keep sending information.
This probe is designed to travel through the entire sun, giving us information about each layer.
Why is it that he had to make this, but they happened to have one of those lying around? I would have thought that the wind-resistant probe would have been more likely to already exist than the Survive the Center of the Sun probe. Anyway, they're sending Tippy the Pinhead down in the shuttle to take samples of gas and audio recordings of Jupiter. Even though audio recordings of Jupiter already exist. Listen. And also, people have recorded electromagnetic things from Jupiter which have been turned into audio. We couldn't get pure audio because of the hard to hear in space thing. I'd play you some of the resulting Jupiter audio, but it's hard to find a copy that's not been remixed to sound like Enya slowed down 800%. So, will Genesis Command allow Deep Throat to use his homemade probe?
Oh, that sounds very useful. I'll need to send your report to the Admiral for approval, but I'll do that right away.
One of the mysteries in Genesis 7 is how the boss of Genesis Command changes between being a colonel and being an admiral, depending on how much attention I'm paying to the episode.
Admiral.
Admiral.
You Admiral? You Admiral.
Admiral Croft?
As you can see, I pay very little attention. But before they head for Jupiter itself, they need to investigate some of the moons. And even before that, they need to get some good old Carl Sagan-loving science bashing, as they laugh at people for thinking there could be life on Europa.
Isn't there an old movie about life on Europa?
Now that you mention it, yes there is. Oh, what was that called?
Genesis 7, I hate to tell you this, but there wasn't any life in Europa in 2001. There was a monolith, a piece of technology that was in orbit between Jupiter and Io. You couldn't even get the moon right! And this is a kids' show made for evangelical Christians. How many of them will have any idea what the fuck just happened? And they're from 70 years in the future. Why would they know about 2001? That's like a couple of teenagers casually today talking about a film made in 1885. I mean, not everyone at that age is me.
It was really strange.
Tell me about it. What makes scientists believe that there's an ocean under Europa's crust when we haven't even sent a probe yet?
They discuss how science worked out that Europa has a frozen ocean on its surface, and because they don't find the explanation threatening, they're happy to go along with it.
That makes sense.
So the shuttle heads down to Io, played here by someone's game of Minecraft. But we only get to see these 2 generic shots on the way down because someone decided that a pointless and inaccurate 2001 reference was a better use of the budget.
How do things look from the surface?
It's amazing. Some of these mountains are higher than any I've ever seen back home. The lava flows spread out for miles.
Oh my god. The world off screen and therefore not beholden to the budget is infinitely more impressive than I ever could have dreamed! In fact, it makes me want to do a proper pointless Kubrick reference, just to show him how it's fucking done. There was me, that was Danton, and my 3 droogs, that is Pete, Georgie, and Dim, and we were ready for some of the old ultra-evangelism. Euphemism not intended. The Genesis Command boss has okayed the homemade probe, but there's a catch. Dex Spectre has to create a special arm that can hold and remotely release the probe and attach it to the bottom of the shuttle before they get to Jupiter itself. You might think he could use his Forge-like mutant building powers, but I'd remind you that he's in the middle of a mission, so he better hurry up and almost die if he wants to get back with enough time to work on that arm.
Okay, Captain. I finished collecting my samples and I'm on my way back now.
Oh, no near death this time? How thoughtful of the universe, or the writer. Anyway, back on Earth, this sponge with caterpillar eyebrows is being evil.
Let's see. I think these flight paths could use a few changes.
Corporal Williams.
Ah, Arnold.
Corporal Williams, I couldn't help but notice your Davis Arena-esque laugh to yourself. Now that means you're either a traitor or a white nationalist on paper. Well, I fooled you. I'm both!
Working late tonight, are we?
I had some important deadlines coming up, so I had to get those done.
With Jennings.
No, she had picked up some notes of mine, and I had to come in here and get them.
I wonder if the show realizes that it's been setting up this guy, the guy who walked in on the suspicious shit, as the obvious villain. Is this unusual competence in spreading the intrigue about, or do they find useless white people as interchangeable as I do? Genesis Command still hasn't relieved the possible traitors of duty, and I know this is a kids show, but that never stopped me from abusing Doctor Who when it was being fucking stupid.
Okay, I'm underneath. Hopefully this won't take long.
Who knew the construction of a complicated piece of tech with remote control and space welding would only take a few hours' work? For fuck's sake, he turned that thing around quicker than I made this video!
Priscilla, we'll begin moving towards the red spot as soon as he finishes the welding.
That way he might fall off and we can be alone together. We'll visit the planet Mongo and evangelize to Emperor Ming. I'll have my shirt taken off many times and you'll get jealous when I fancy Ming's hot daughter, but know that it's only you I
just finished the weld. It should be strong enough to hold.
Oh, son of a bitch.
I'm heading back aboard, Captain.
Open the pod bay doors, Molly. So Snookums is the best pilot on the ship and maybe the best in Genesis Command, and he's addicted to inventing useful shit. Why the fuck are you sending him down into the spot? It's the biggest fucking storm in the solar system! And an even bigger question is, why am I addicted to bringing this up episode after episode? They're never going to explain it!
I'll be careful to follow all 3 rules. Stay away from the edge, stay away from the center, and don't fly too low.
Why didn't they bring a pilot they could afford to lose? They could even send one of the others down. I mean, the captain barely does fuck all, and Priscilla's official job title is Oxygen Waster. Anyway, he's on his way down to the Great Red Space Anus.
And just think, that storm, which is as big as 2 or 3 Earth-sized planets, is on a planet that's 120 times the size of Earth. The Sun is about 10 times the size of Jupiter, and it's a small star.
Jesus Christ, it's like the point of this show is to drive people to meet Christ by using the bad acting to make them commit suicide before the end of the episode. And he's one of the better actors.
There are hundreds of billions of stars in the galaxy, and billions of galaxies in the universe.
And yet, you insult Carl Sagan and his League of Satano-Scientists for thinking there might be life somewhere else. You arrogant fucking pricks.
I can't even comprehend how enormous that is. It's almost infinite.
Almost, but not quite, because only God is infinite. What is truly impossible to comprehend is that God created everything in the universe, all the billions of galaxies with their billions of stars, in just 6 days by the word of his power.
Oh, Lord! Oh, you are so big!
God is so much more powerful than we can comprehend. He created every atom in the universe in the very beginning, but he existed for all eternity before the universe was even here.
Gosh, we're all really impressed down here, I can tell you.
And God ordained all that would happen in the universe that he created. In Isaiah 46:10, I read that there is none like God, declaring the end from the beginning, from the ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand.
Forgive us, O Lord, for this our dreadful toadying.
It's amazing how I can't tell the difference between these people and the smackable little fucks who hang around with bullies, lauding everything they do in the hope they won't be hit.
At the flagpole at 3:15.
And you better be prompt. He has 4 other meetings scheduled this afternoon.
I'm at cloud level now. The updraft is very noticeable.
You know, I didn't expect the interior of the Great Red Spot to be red, seeing as there's not much light inside it, but why the fuck is it orange? Anyway, Dan is going to take the shuttle dangerously low so he can drop his probe. This will, of course, result in drama.
The trim thrusters are maxed out, but I don't think little G has the power to make it up.
That might be because your ship is powered by air fresheners. Anyway, the drama will be fixed off screen and in moments. Well, technically the captain convinced them to fly to the eye and use the extra thrust from the winds to build up the speed to escape. On principle, I think it wouldn't work, but I suppose if it can, why, oh why, did the captain have to tell him to do that? He's meant to be their fucking ace pilot. The one thing you could reasonably expect him to be able to handle, and he can't? If you wanted the suggestion to be ridiculous, you know, a crazy, zany idea that just might work, you could have given it to her. She's praying for a fucking line over there. Anyway, this is from earlier. Observe the patented Genesis 7 approach to background diversity. Don't have it. But in their defense, I had to use all my guile and editing powers to stick these two shots together. Anyway, that's it. Episode is over. Oh, Jupiter, what did they do to you? Oh, Kubrick, what did they do to you? Oh, reality, what did they do to you? Show me the scars. This is, again, really bad. Watching this has become like a weird self-harm ritual, like what happens in Iran or the Philippines. At least I'm more than halfway through. That was Genesis 7, and I am so sorry.